All right, so I've got a great idea for a Halloween costume, Joan and Sam. A great idea for a Halloween costume.
Mm-hmm.
You need a costume of Hakeem Jeffries, and then you need the sombrero and the mustache.
Oh, yeah.
So that's got to be, right? That has got to be the costume for Halloween of 2025.
Well, then you need like a boombox playing mariachi tunes.
Then you need to carry around the boombox with the mariachi tunes. That's exactly, by the way, I think calling it, no. I was going to say it's racist if you call it a ghetto blaster.
Or a ghetto box.
Or a ghetto box.
Yeah.
Yes. Which people used to call it that all the time. Then suddenly, I don't want to get mired into all that.
You racist.
Was it racist that I'm saying that maybe that would be a great Halloween costume?
It's racist that you suggest we wear sombreros, mister.
And the mustache.
And the mustache.
And the black mustache. Yeah. And we did have some fun earlier, and then I'm going to get to some news. We did have some fun earlier because we were talking about how yesterday we're talking about how we needed a Maxine Waters Halloween inflatable for, my front lawn. Because I've actually got room for one more inflatable. Believe it or not, I'm going to the home store after today.
Oh, no.
But then we started talking earlier about all the really scary Democrats that they look scary. And the super text line, as the super text line does, just jumps right in with all of these very scary looking Democrats. Like, for example, do you know who would look like a really good Wicked Witch of the West? AOC. Like just her physical features, she looks like she would make a good, it's a caricature, right?
Yeah.
So if you want, weird looking Democrats and you want to have them as your inflatables in your front lawn, AOC as a witch would be good. You have Joe Biden with a big nose because he likes to sniff and he likes to lie. Pinocchio, right? So the big nose. Should you have him naked because he liked to swim naked? Would a naked Joe Biden inflate? No? Okay. I know people are eating. You'll notice that Joan suddenly is quiet, right? Suddenly Joan is just, gotta go to the kitchen.
And when I figured it out, somebody put it on the super text line. When Joe Biden used to swim naked, and according to Ron Klain, in his book, he said that he would swim naked and make all the female Secret Service agents like blush and run away. Mm-hmm. They would call him Cobra when it was.
They would call him what?
Cobra. That was how they would phone in and say Cobra, Cobra.
Okay.
Because they knew.
No, I got it.
Joe Biden was swimming naked.
Naked.
What was the radio signal for when he allegedly soiled himself in the Vatican?
Poopy pants.
Give me a break.
Anyway, not to go from silly to stupid.
Yeah.
Or whatever, silly and stupid to serious news. The Manchester synagogue terrorist you've been talking about.
Yes.
I don't know all the details you have. I think you're as up to date as I am, I believe. The Daily Mail and others reporting that he was wearing a suicide belt, a suspected suicide belt. 2 people are dead before being shot by police. They've got a picture of the guy. He's got a really dark beard. Looks kind of longish, but not really long. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like bushy. And shaved head. And I'm looking for, and it is, the holiest of days, I guess, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. And lo and behold, a synagogue is attacked. So I'm looking for, let's all be honest, everybody's thinking the same thing. Did the guy yell Allah Akbar, right? I mean, that's what people are asking. And
is that in the Daily Mail report at all?
No, I'm looking. That's what I'm looking. Because everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Because we know that the UK and Europe has been overrun with non-assimilating Muslims. And so that is a legit, not a racist, but a legit question. So I'm looking, I don't know, but it's a horrible story out of, is that London?
It's London, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that as he was shot at 9:38 a.m. He is dead, and they call him a suspicious items were on his person. So
I don't know what else would be dangling from a belt like that. I just
Yeah, I didn't
you're not
see
carrying seasonings around.
No, he's not carrying seasonings. All right, moving right along. Real quick, I do have some In-N-Out news. Do you want to hear some In-N-Out news before we get into?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Scott DesJarlais is going to join us coming up at 7:36 on Nashville's Morning News. The congressman might be sound a little loopy like Joe Biden. The congressman Scott DesJarlais. I'm just telling you, Scott DesJarlais. Don't tell him I'm saying this.
Okay.
So nobody tweet at him or anything. But I want you to listen very closely when he starts speaking, Congressman Scott DesJarlais.
Okay.
I don't want to say why yet, but just listen very closely to what he has to say and how he's saying it, and if he just sounds a little off. In-N-Out has now bought a $30 million building in Wilson County. It's going to be a regional hub.
Oh.
Yeah, this is great. In-N-Out Burger continues to show, this is from the Tennessean. In-N-Out Burger continues to show an all-in effort when it comes to a Middle Tennessee expansion. The company has bought a new warehouse property at Wilson County's Speedway Industrial Park for $30.15 million that it intends to use as a regional hub. Now, I don't know what that actually means. The California-based restaurant chain has purchased an approximate 154,000 square foot building on 19 acres on Richard Petty Way, according to the Wilson County assessor at properties, offices, blah, blah. Because, they do still have, people were a little confused about In-N-Out. So they are moving some operations to Franklin. They're bringing stores to Middle Tennessee and to Tennessee. But they do still have some operations in California. I forget where, but it's like some random place. Will you look that up for me, Sam? Where in California? It's not El Monte, but it's some place like El Monte. They say the buyer of the property listed as In-N-Out Burgers. You know what the thing is, though? If they're buying something that big, $30 million building and 154,000 square feet, then you know that they're going to be hiring some folks. So I think that this is obviously good news, and it is more In-N-Out just getting a foothold in Middle Tennessee, and I think this is great. By the way, Joan, do you know when the first In-N-Out opens up?
Next week.
No.
Okay.
Not even next month, in December. I want to say it's in Hermitage. No, in Lebanon. December, I want to say 10th.
Okay.
In Lebanon. Sam, did you find out where their headquarters is in California?
Baldwin Park.
Baldwin Park, right next to the greatness of El Monte, said no one at all. I'm out tomorrow, and I'm out Friday. They got some hack filling in for me, Joan.
Named Brian?
Some hack named Brian.
Yeah.
Some hack named Brian Wilson. I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of him before.
Don't worry, we'll take care of him. Me and Sam will do that.
Yeah. I'm sure. Anyway, so Brian's going to take care of you for the next couple of days. I love that Caroline Leavitt, have you heard this voice recording that she left on the phones there at the White House? I love this. This is so typical Caroline Leavitt. This is a message that she left for folks calling the White House. Listen to this.
Thank you for calling the White House comment line.
Hello, America. This is White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Democrats in Congress have shut down the federal government because they care more about funding health care for illegal immigrants than they care about serving you, the American people. Until Democrats vote for the clean, Republican-backed continuing resolution to reopen the government, the White House is unable to answer your call or respond to your questions. We look forward to hearing from you again very soon. And in the meantime, please know President Trump will never stop fighting for you. Thank you, and God bless you.
There you go, Caroline Leavitt. I mean, I love it. By the way, are they doing White House tours?
Do you love it or do you love it?
I think the White House tours are not being.
Not being given?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Hold on, my computer wants to keep restarting on me, and I keep having
That's too bad. That's one of my big goals. I have not yet done that, a White House tour, and I got to do it in the next couple of years. But I want to play a couple of audio bites really quickly. And by the way, I'm trying to get, and I may be able to get.
Oh, here, let me just update you.
Okay.
They've, as of October, so today, the White House tours are temporarily suspended indefinitely due to the construction of the new ballroom. So it has nothing to do, right? With,
all right.
Yeah.
Hey, guess who we're going to talk to at 8:05, Joan?
Who?
Remember that pastor out of Memphis, Pastor Kenneth Whalum?
Yeah.
He's going to join us to give us a live update on how it's going in Memphis.
Oh, I love it. That's a great idea.
Love that guy, man.
Yeah.
He is really great. So we're going to talk to him, Scott DesJarlais, Congressman, coming up at 7:35 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One of my favorite moments from yesterday was when Hakeem Jeffries was on with Jay Tapper, and Tapper kind of calls him out for lying about what is going on with the Republicans, calling out the Democrats as the Democrats, continue to push for medical benefits for illegal aliens. Listen to this.
So let me ask you about a provision that the Republicans are talking about quite a bit. I know you want to talk about, and Democrats want to talk about, extending the Obamacare subsidies, which expire at the end of 2025. But they talk about the provisions, and it's right here, subtitle E, and this has to do with the repeal of health care subtitle changes, and specifically what it is. How they characterize it is, you want to give health insurance to undocumented immigrants. I understand that's not really an accurate depiction, but what it does do is...
That's a lie.
It's actually not a lie. See, what's happening is, and I've got audio from the vice president coming up, but the bottom line is that the Democrats are playing word games. That's what they're doing. They're playing word games. And I'll explain coming up.
It's a lie, but what you support does bring back funding for emergency Medicaid to hospitals, some of which does pay for undocumented immigrants.
And Hakeem Jeffries, he nodded to that.
People who don't have health insurance. And also there is this provision, and it's not about undocumented immigrants, it's about people with asylum seekers and people with temporary protected status, et cetera, but about their ability to get Medicaid. So they're non-citizens, they're not undocumented, they're not illegal. Why even include that in a bill, knowing that they're going to seize right upon that and use that to message?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, and I've been explaining this for days now, bottom line of what has happened is under the Biden administration, they had all of these people. You remember all those folks that were paroled in, they were flown in, and all of the asylum seekers as well. All of these people come in, and when Biden changes their status to lawfully present as opposed to illegal, they become lawfully present like Biden did for millions of illegal aliens. That change in status allows them to get benefits. And that's something that the Republicans are trying to stop. And that is what they did stop in the big, beautiful bill. And now you've got the Democrats who are demanding that this be changed back. And if they don't, they are going to continue to shut down the government, which effectively means that, yes, they are shutting down the government. The Democrats are trying to shut down the government because they want people that were here either illegally. This is what I mean about how they're playing word games, because effectively these are illegal aliens, but Joe Biden gave them the status that opened them up for all of these health benefits. Now, I want to play some audio from J.D. Vance because he actually responded directly to Hakeem Jeffries.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens.
Yep. So that is J.D. Vance.
The Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and congressional Republicans turned off that money to healthcare funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to turn it back on. And in their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for healthcare benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point. It is in the text of the bill that they initially gave to us to reopen the government. It's preposterous for them to run away from it now. But look, let's set that all to the side. Let's open up the government. Let's negotiate on all of these healthcare policy issues. Obviously, we're not going to support healthcare benefits for illegal aliens, but we will work with them to lower healthcare costs for American citizens if they're willing.
Yeah. So realize, I mean, I've played, just go through the show today. Joan, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you. So look at the audio that I've played today. I played audio from Mike Johnson. I've played audio from J.D. Vance and somebody else as well. I've had a lot of audio today. And they're all basically saying the same thing about what it is that the Democrats are trying to do. So, and bottom line is, this is going to be a non-starter for the Republicans. And so at some point, somebody's going to have to cave. I don't know. Schumer is worried about being reelected. Everyone knows that. By the way, you know how much we spent on hospital visits for illegal aliens under Joe Biden? The Biden administration's federal government spent over $16.2 billion on Medicaid-funded emergency services for undocumented immigrants, often referred to as illegal aliens, since taking office in 2021, reimbursing hospitals for required emergency care under laws. And that's only emergency room visits. It goes beyond that, way beyond that. Of course, as I've been mentioning, it does encourage more illegal immigration because the more benefits they get here, the more others want to come. And that is why you had so many guys out at the border. They were coming in saying, "We love Joe Biden." Remember that? I don't know how you say that in Spanish, but I know that I heard it. And so now you've got the Republicans that do, in my estimation, have them dead to rights. We spent billions on these illegal aliens after Biden made them lawfully present, changing that status. The big, beautiful bill took that eligibility away, and the Democrats want it back. Just real quick, these folks get billions of dollars in Obamacare premium tax credits, food stamps, child nutrition programs. They have gotten outright cash payments as well. You get earned income tax credits, child tax credits again. It does go on and on. So anywhere you go on the internet today, you are going to see some of these folks on the left calling Republicans liars. I just don't know how you get that from what Mike Johnson has to say, what Caroline Leavitt has said, what all of these Republicans have said, and most certainly J.D. Vance. And you heard Jay Tapper even question Hakeem Jeffries and say, why do you have this in the bill? Or why do you have this if you know that this is going to turn into a Republican talking point? Well, because what they're trying to do, I think ultimately, is the Democrats do want to have the government shut down and try to blame it on Donald Trump. And the reason why they're doing that is because they need to show their base that they are fighting fascism. I want to welcome on into the program Congressman Scott DesJarlais. Congressman, how are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, Congressman. I told people to listen very carefully to you because, I mean, yesterday you were slurring up a storm like Joe Biden, but it had nothing to do with, you know, your cognitive situation. You'd gone to the dentist and I guess had a molar pulled?
Yeah, I had one that they couldn't save, and there wasn't enough bone there to put an implant, so they had to pull it as a back upper molar. And yeah, so I had cotton in my mouth, and I probably didn't sound as good as Joe Biden. So thanks for giving me a day reprieve to recover.
So what is worse, getting a molar pulled or having to listen to Hakeem Jeffries?
I'd probably lose all my teeth first.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about what is going on. Of course, we all know the government is shut down day 2. So I'm assuming you're back here in Tennessee. Is that a safe assumption or no?
Yeah, we are in Tennessee. We will be going back Monday.
Okay, so main sticking points, of course, you have the Democrats that are out there. You know, I do find it interesting, and I shouldn't lead the witness, but you have the Democrats out there saying that, oh, no, we don't want medical benefits for illegal aliens, which is one of the biggest talking points that that Kamala Harris ran on. That's number one. And number two, as I have been reminding folks, let's all remember that back in 2019, that now infamous moment when the moderator in the Democrat primary said, hey, if your platform, if your policies include giving illegal aliens medical benefits, raise your hand. And they all raised their hands. So I guess I'm a little confused as to why the Democrats seem confused.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. Illegals are getting taken care of. We know that they're getting housing. We know they're getting education. We know that they're getting cell phone. We know that they're getting food subsidies. And we know that they're getting health care. And we let 20 million of them in for only one reason, and that was to increase the voter base, because most U.S. elections are about 50-50. And in their mind, another 20 million people that they give a whole bunch of stuff to are going to vote for them. So there's no secret. Trump came in really on day one, flipped the switch, and the border was closed. And so, I'll give one example that I've been fighting for years trying to get an answer about is why or how much of our SNAP benefits, 41 million Americans allegedly are on SNAP benefits. That's the number they give us. I want to know how many of those are here illegally, how many are U.S. citizens. And they say it's very hard to get SNAP benefits if you're not an American citizen. But on the USDA's own website, their own paperwork, I've held it up and showed it right to them. I showed it to Vilsack and I showed it to Rollins. And if you're here and you're under 18, you automatically qualify for SNAP. That's a rule. So anyone under 18 that entered the country illegal is getting SNAP benefits. If you are seeking asylum and get it, you get SNAP benefits. There's like 17 different categories. If you're a refugee, you get SNAP benefits. So these are all non-citizens, and that's just the food benefits, but they get health care benefits too. And so it's disingenuous for them to say that's not part of it. I'm guessing it's probably out of that 41 million, I'm guessing that probably at least 11 million, I can't get a number, but it's a high number that are non-American citizens that we're paying for instead of using money on Americans first.
Well, one of the things, Congressman Scott DesJarlais is joining us, one of the things that has been in the conversation circles the last several days is that, as far as I can gather, the Democrats are trying to say that the Republicans are lying, that they don't want to give, and this is important, illegal aliens medical benefits. And so one of the things that J.D. Vance and others have pointed out, including yours truly, is that, as you mentioned correctly, Joe Biden brought in or allowed in, because you got the parolees too, all of these people into our country, and then he changed their status, effectively calling them lawful. They were lawfully here. And that opened the door for them to get, I guess, additional benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, in his mind, I guess if he's not stopping them at the border, and he clearly wasn't, maybe in his mind it was lawful because under his rule as president, he was allowing them to come in.
Right.
And he was turning them loose. So, I guess that was his logic. And, of course, that's not the way the laws are written on the books. So he was basically breaking the law, in my opinion. It's amazing because I hate CRs. I think it says that Congress is not doing its job, that we're not passing a budget. And under Biden, there was 13 CRs that they called clean CRs, which means, basically you're just extending the current funding levels to another time when you can kick the can down the road further. But, we literally passed a CR. The only thing that was in there was a bipartisan request because of all the political violence for member security. Now, whether or not that needed to be in there or not, I don't know, but it was agreed upon by Democrats and Republicans. So it truly was a clean CR, with the exception of some additional funding for security and safety measures. And so they should have no problem voting for that, but now it's a political football, and they're using that Republicans don't care about Americans' health care. But let's dissect that just a little bit for a minute, too, because this was another Biden move. During COVID, they took Obamacare recipients, and there may be some listeners who are benefiting from this, but, they keep throwing them, several million Americans are about to see their premiums jacked. Well, what happened was it was kind of like student loans. Student loans were changed to interest only, but when COVID was over, they had to start making their payments again. Well, the health care thing was that they had an enhanced premium subsidy during COVID because so many people lost their jobs and so on and so forth. Well, that was set to expire, and it's expiring. So that's what they're talking about, that Republicans are jacking people's health care premiums. That's not true. They're just going back to where they were. In the meantime, I don't know about you, but my family's health care coverage literally has doubled since COVID. What we pay each month for health care has doubled. So the average American is paying much higher premiums to subsidize this enhanced premium reduction that was started during COVID. So they're holding the country hostage and saying we're not voting for the CR because Republicans don't care about health care and they want to raise everyone's premiums. They're not raising the premiums. They're just going back to where they were supposed to go as this gift was put out there during COVID to help people out. So I'm not buying that argument either.
Congressman Scott DesJarlais is joining us in the midst of day 2 of the government shutdown. Congressman, a lot of people are saying that, and I asked Senator Hagerty about this the other day, this shutdown feels different for whatever reason. I think partly because both sides are incredibly they're not moving. They're not negotiating. This whole thing about illegal aliens getting medical benefits, that is a non-starter. Also a very big deal is Chuck Schumer, who is up for re-election, and he's got AOC breathing down his neck.
Yeah, he voted for the CR or got enough Democrats to vote for it in March or whenever we had to pass the other one. And at that time, he said it's dangerous to shut down the government. And almost every Democrat that you want to bring up, everyone who's known, they've been playing a loop of clips where they're saying, you don't shut down the government. And you don't, because people get furloughed. And we'll get it. I think that's an important point to get into here in a minute, too, the non-essential employee thing. But, people get sent home. People get laid off. You might not have a park ranger to talk to in a national park, this and that. But most of the government is on autopilot. 85% of what we spend is mandatory spending. And in a shutdown, that just continues forward. And so even in a shutdown, we're still going into debt. But we lose money because we pay people not to work. I've never seen a shutdown where people who were furloughed don't get back pay. So they're basically getting a free vacation. In fact, I think federal workers who get furloughed love it because they know they're going to get their money. They always do. Now, I'm going to give an example. In 2012 or 2013, we, the Republicans, were not in power in the White House. It was Obama, but we vowed to repeal Obamacare. So we basically forced John Boehner's hand, and we went into a government shutdown for 18 days. And you probably remember the movie Animal House, where the guy gets in front of the band and leads them into a blind alley. Well, eventually you got to come out. And that's where we were. For 18 days, we fussed because we were going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to hold the government hostage because we were going to get our way. Well, there's no way in hell Obama was going to sign anything to repeal Obamacare. And so we lost, and we learned a lesson that, you can't hold the government hostage. That's what they're trying to do right now over health care. And the pressure is going to mount on them as certain benefits do run out. Military got paid, but in a couple of weeks, they're not going to get paid. And as far as the non-essential employees, they say, send your non-essential employees home. And I thought, what the hell is that? When I had a medical practice, I didn't have anybody there that I just had there because I was nice and thought, this person needs a job. I'm gonna give them money. That's bad business. But the government has all these employees that are deemed non-essential. Well, so they're the ones that are getting furloughed. I don't have anyone in my office going home because I need every single one of those to do the work that we do. And this is a case where Trump, in theory, after a period of time, these non-essential furloughed employees, he can just make that permanent, just get rid of them. And they're trying to downsize government.
Yep.
And everything we did in the big, beautiful bill to save money and claw back money, the Democrats are basically wanting all that back. They're not in power, so they don't get to make that call. We did these things to clean up government, to get rid of waste and fraud and abuse, and they're wanting that $1.5 trillion worth of stuff, Green New Deals, whatnot, put back in there. And that's what they're holding us hostage for right now. And over the next few days, it's going to become pretty clear that they initiated this shutdown. And it's always a blame game. I hate this. Oh, they did it. No, they did it. It's the American people just want things to function, and they want government to function. But I think this does feel different in the sense that, this is a politically motivated thing. As you said, Chuck Schumer feels threatened by AOC. God help us. That she would replace somebody who's been there 50 years, who's basically worthless, and she's even more worthless. But, yeah, this is about politics, and I think that as the clock ticks here over the next few days, there's going to be enough rational Democrats, moderate Democrats that are going to join in, and they're going to end this.
Do you think that there are rational Democrats who will, risk either not getting funding from the Democrat Party when they run for re-election? You know how the game is played. Do you think because I think they need, how many do they need? I hear anywhere from 4 or 5 to 7 to 9. You have 5?
Yeah,
okay.
we need about 5. And yeah, I mean, who would have ever thought? I thought John Fetterman was a nut, and he's turning out to be more like a Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He's more of a moderate, and he actually makes sense sometimes, despite the hoodie and his expressive aphasia, which has gotten much better. I guess I got to know him after he had his stroke, and he didn't seem like he was competent to run for office. But the guy's pretty rational when it comes to political views, and I never thought I'd hear myself say that. But then there's someone from New Hampshire and a few others that are starting to feel the heat. And if you're in a swing seat where, I mean, it's about 50-50 Democrats and Republicans, you got to please everybody. And if you feel political pressure, you're going to say, well, let's reopen the government, because really, this fight's going to happen again. You and I will be on the phone November 20th talking about this again. But it does give you 6 weeks to negotiate. Well, these health care subsidies were temporary. And once you give something away as a government, it's hard to take that back. People get used to it. And it's like, well, no, I don't want to go back to paying full price. I like paying half price. And so, maybe there's a happy median in there somewhere due to inflation that we can negotiate and find, something that's fair. But at any rate, we got 6 weeks to do that. And that's when we need to be having this fight. Having a fight during a shutdown right now is futile. We're not going to sit there and say, okay, you win. We're going to give you what you want. I think we're locked in because we offered a clean CR just like they did 13 times under Biden and just like they voted for in March. And so I think in the end, this thing wraps up pretty quickly, and we'll see 5 more Democrats peel off, hopefully by early next week.
I don't understand, and I've only got like 30 seconds left, but I don't understand how the Democrats can blame the Republicans for this shutdown when 5 Democrats need to vote for the CR to keep it open. I mean, what am I missing here, Congressman?
I don't know what you're missing. It's like one of the few times that we actually did it right in the House. And again, I don't generally vote for CRs, but we have such a slim majority Trump asked us to vote for this so that there would be time to negotiate and finish some appropriation bills and have these negotiations. So it's literally a 6-week CR. We're just continuing the current rate of spending for 6 weeks. And then again, we'll have this fight again, but it'd be nice if we actually had a budget and did things the right way. I wouldn't hold your breath, but Washington is so divided right now; it's hard to get anything done legislatively. But the bottom line is, you can't hold your breath, stomp your feet, and say, "I want all these things," and expect to get them. It's like petulant children, and that's what they're being right now. The Republicans passed a clean CR. And, they just need to open it because they're creating a bunch of problems for a bunch of people, and they're going to see things that their priorities. Trump can claw back money that's been appropriated. And I think he's doing that on some construction projects in blue states because, he can say, oh, we can't spend this money right now. We're in a shutdown.
Yep.
And so they're going to feel the pain. They're going to feel the pressure. And, my prediction is that, like I said, in less than a week, they'll get the 5 Democrats, and then we'll live to fight another day.
All right, Congressman, always great to have you on.